Hi guys, Adam here. In our last video, we got a lot of the visualization stuff done, and we're going to kind of finish that off in this video, more or less. There might be a couple other short ones, but to kind of finish this off, and then we'll do some advanced stuff in future iterations, like level up stuff. But to finish this off, we're going to do our performance data, which is trap bar deadlift, jump height, bench press, body fat. I don't need this anymore. I can remove it. And initially, we created formulae in this data viz sheet. However, now that I did this because I thought that we were going to create KPIs out of these cells and just color code them. But now I'm thinking that we can create graphs, and that would look a little bit cooler, and you'll learn a lot more. So I'm going to copy these, and I'm going to paste them into my reference sheet. Now I've already set up another gray bar that says performance data. I just did that, and that's the way that you should organize it. Overall, the way that this reference sheet is organized is not great. I've been pretty lazy about it. You should have a lot cleaner organization, and maybe in another video go through organization of the data sheets. But I'm going to paste that information in here. One of the problems that we have is that the references carry over, or don't carry over, I guess, where in our data viz, we said for trap bar deadlift, we want to get the average if the person's name is this name in cell A4, and the date is that date. But notice A4, that name. And then when I pasted the formula into the reference, nothing shows up. And it's because I'm looking at cell A4 in this sheet now, not the data viz sheet. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to remove this, do a comma, go to my data viz sheet, and click on cell A4. And you'll notice it says data viz A4, which is the name of the sheet. Put dollar signs around the A and dollar signs around the 4. And also, I click enter. That's what the formula looks like. It's looking at cell M14. And again, that's not right. So I'm going to have to remove it. And I actually want to look at this date, G34. And I'll click enter. Okay, still nothing showing up. That's because the date is not right. And the date is also looking at cell A4 in the other sheet. So one thing that I can do is I can copy this data viz A4 with the comma, I guess, or let's not have the comma in there. And copy that, come into here, the date one, and change this to that, click enter. Now we'll see both pop up. And now what I can do is I can copy both of these. I apologize that this is a little bit repetitive, but we can copy both of these, paste them here, and change trap bar deadlift to jump height. Enter. It's going to go to the next one. And again, we're going to change trap bar deadlift from our database to jump height. Click enter. Now this is the maximum date or the latest date that the person did a jump height test, and this is the value for that jump height test. And I'm going to copy the trap bar deadlift. I'm going to paste it where the bench press information is. Whoops. Paste it. And I'm also going to paste it in the body fat. And again, I'm going to go into these cells, and I'm just going to replace trap bar deadlift with bench press. And again, for the date, latest date, I'm going to replace trap bar deadlift with bench press. And for the body fat, I'm going to do the same thing. See, it says trap bar deadlift. Kind of remove it and type in body fat percent. And here, we're going to do the same thing for body fat percent. Okay, so far, so good. Now, we're going to organize this a little bit. Three, two, one. Now, we're going to organize this a little bit. So, this is all jumbled up. I'm just going to move this stuff over. This is for our graphs. I'm going to have trap bar deadlift here. Let's put jump height here. I'm dragging things around there and a date. Let's move this down. Okay, so maybe make it a little bit bigger. This is going to be latest. This is going to be best. We have the latest values here. And again, I'm going to move this date over by the jump height. And let's just keep on. Let's go latest, best. And let's do the same thing for the bench press. I'm just dragging the values around. Actually, let's move this down one more to create some more separation. And let's do the same thing with body fat. Again, I'm just clicking, dragging the crosshairs, dragging the values around, making it consistent. And again, I'm going to copy this latest best, paste it here, and paste it here. Now, these are setups. I don't know what this is, but let's get rid of it. So this is setting up for our graphs. Now we need to get the best. And to get the best, the first thing that we can do is let's copy this formula, because it's going to be pretty close to this, and let's paste it here. Now we're getting the average drop bar deadlift for the person in our database whose name is in our name selector in our database when the date is equal to whatever this date is. Well, in this case, we don't care about the date because we want the all-time best. So first I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to click enter. Now, what this value is the person's average drop bar deadlift over their entire tenure in the data set. I'm going to change the word average to max. Enter. Now I have a maximum value for that person. And I can copy this and paste it here and change, again, trap bar to jump height. That's the person's best jump height. Copy this, paste it here, and change jump height to bench press. Copy this, paste it here, but now this is important. Well, first I will change this to body fat, but now this is their highest body fat because we're getting the maximum. When in reality, for body fat, lower is typically better. So I'm going to change this max to min and click enter, and it's the same. So this person, whatever their latest body fat reading was, their best ever, apparently. Now we need to get the date that is associated with this value, because that's important. We want to know when it was. And the way that we do that is that we're going to use index match. And we could use XLOOKUP, but a lot of you might not have access to it, so we're not going to use it. So I'm going to do index match equals index. What do I want in here? I want a date. So, oh, sorry, I just got interrupted by a knock on the door. Equals index. We want the date, the latest date. So PBL daily, or we can do the performance table. Performance date. So we want the date when I'm do comma match. And again, we're gonna have multiple criteria, so we have to set this up a little bit differently. So match parentheses 1, comma, open parenthesis again. We're gonna say table performance. Oops, what just happened? Table performance. This is our performance table where all of our performance metrics reside. They also reside in our table daily, or our daily table, because we join them together. But table performance, we want the trap bar deadlift, or sorry, we want the name equal to whatever name is in our data visualization that we choose. And I'm going to lock that in. Close the parentheses, multiply sign, open parenthesis, TBL for table underscore performance, trap bar deadlift, close the square bracket, equal to, go back to our reference sheet where we are. I'm actually going to remove this because we don't need it. And when the trap bar deadlift is equal to, I can't select the cell because the formula is overriding it, but it's this cell here, reference I-34. I'm not going to lock this in because then if I copy and paste the formula down, it'll be easier to manage. And I'm going to close the parentheses off, or close that, comma 0, and then do a couple more parentheses and click enter. This is what the formula looks like. You might have to hold down Control Shift or Command Shift and click enter for this to work. I don't, but be cognizant of that. And now we get a number. And if I change this number to be a short date, we will get a date. I'm gonna copy this, right click here and paste the formatting just so it looks, the font and everything are the same. You don't have to do that. It aggravated me. Now I'm gonna copy this formula that we have here, paste it here. That's fine. I would expect there to be an NA because there's not going to be a trap bar deadlift that is equal to this. However, there will be a jump height that's equal to this. So I'm replacing trap bar deadlift with jump height. Click enter. Same date, ironically, that he got his best trap bar deadlift and his, or whoever this person is, and their best jump height. Copy this formula, paste it down. Now instead of jump height, we're looking for bench press. Enter. Copy this, paste it down. Now instead of bench press, we want body fat. Enter. So, and that makes sense, right? Their latest was this and their best was this, so the dates are the same. But let's go through this one more time, this formula. We're looking for a date in our performance data set where the name in that data set is equal to the name that we select in our data visualization and the value in our data set, in this case body fat percentage, is equal to this value, which we set up to be the max or the best value. So what we're doing is we're finding the date for the best value for that person. Enter. Okay, cool. We have formulas done. Now let's do graphs. I'm going to select all this information here. And instead, the reason why I'm not putting all this on the same graph is because the values are so different. If you're looking at numbers in the 500s versus numbers in the teens, you know, the axes on the graph are going to have to be very large, and you're not going to be able to see any change, even though it may be a significant change with lower values. So we're going to do each graph individually. I'm going to select all of this, insert. I'm going to insert a bar chart. Go here. And I set this up very intentionally with the latest, best, and then the dates so that when I select all that, you can see the latest show up down there and the best show up down there and the dates associated with each as the x-axis. So I think that's pretty cool to see. Now let's spend a little bit of time formatting this chart the way that we want it, because we can save it as a template and then apply it to the rest of our charts to save us some time. The way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to remove grid lines. I'm going to add data labels. And actually, before I keep on doing this chart, let's set up our numbers in the way that we want to see them. For trap bar deadlift, I don't care about decimals. So I'm going to select those cells, make them numbers, and remove both of the decimal points. Now you see my labels change to reflect that. Jump height, I want 1 decimal. Change it to number, remove 1, now there's 1 decimal. For bench press, it's going to be the same as trap bar deadlift. Make it a number, and then remove the decimals. For body fat, now we're going to do something cool. This is special. I want the percentage sign to show up. But notice, if I select these and I make them a percentage, now we're getting 900. We're getting a ridiculous percentage because the way that our body fat percentages are formatted in our database are not percentages. They're numbers, but they reflect a percentage, if that makes sense. It's a little bit convoluted, But in any case, the way that we get around this is I'll make them a number for now. We go here, we go to more number formats, and we go to custom. And the way that we make this a percentage or look like a percentage is if I want it to be 2 decimal points, I could keep that here, but I want it to be 1. So I'm going to go 0.0, and notice it kind of shows you what it's going to look like up top. I'm going to do a quotation mark, percentage sign, quotation mark. Now up top it says 0.0 or 9.8 with a percentage sign at the end. So it's not an actual percentage, but it looks like a percentage. Click OK. Great. Now let's go back to focusing on this chart. I'm going to change the font up here in the top left to band script, whatever. Make this font size 14. And it doesn't really matter. This will be reformatted when I put it into the data viz. But I want the second bar to be gold and the first bar to be, I don't know, black. And let's make these numbers, let's make them white. Right click on the numbers, format data labels, and let's put them inside the end. Right now it looks very strange because the chart is very small. If I make it bigger, we'll probably be able to see the numbers a little bit better. I'm also going to make these bars thicker. So I clicked on the bars or the series, right click, format data series. The gap width, I'm going to make 100, which is going to make the bars thicker. You could even make them thicker if you wanted to make them thicker than that. Like I could go maybe 50. Bars would be even thicker. And let's go in the middle. Let's go 75. That's fine. Okay. Now, I'm going to right click, change the chart type, and I'm going to go to templates. Oh, wait. Sorry about that. I'm going to right click and go to save as template. And this will save the features of this chart as a template. And I keep on backtracking because I keep on forgetting things. I don't want there to be a white background. So when I click on the chart, I'm going to go to this fill. I'm going to go to no fill. Right click again, save as template. I'm going to call this performance data. Save. Save in a certain location. And that's fine. I'm just gonna let's move this. And now let's go here, select our data for jump height, insert. We're gonna insert a bar chart. What just happened there? Did I select the right stuff? Let me try that again. I'm gonna remove that. Oh, I know what I did here. So jump height needs to be here. Sorry, I need to move these down one. Select that, insert bar chart, right click on it and change series chart type. Go to templates up here. I'm going to go to, which one did I do? Performance data. I double clicked on it. Now I have a chart that's very similar to my trap bar deadlift chart. And I'm going to do the same thing with bench press. I'm going to select this, insert, bar chart, right click on it, change chart type, go up to templates, double click on this one, and I'm just going to resize it a little bit. Again, the sizing it doesn't matter for now. I'm just placing them. And the last one, body fat, insert, bar chart, change chart type, templates. Let's do that one, same one. Let's just make it a little smaller, I guess. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't really care about the order right now. I'm going to hold down Control and select all my charts. And Control C or copy them. Go to my data viz page. This is a little bit messy right now, but let's just move these around for now. And I'm going to paste them right here. Now Now let's just reorganize this a little bit. I'm going to go here. Sorry, I'm just going to move these charts out of the way for now. Let me make this a lot smaller. I'm moving these out of the way. And I'm going to go back to a little bit bigger. And I'm going to go across to wherever this ends. So it looks like it's N. I'm going to go all the way to N. You can see that up here as the columns get highlighted. I'm going to merge and center. I'm going to call this latest versus all-time best performance is. Or I could just call this performance data. It doesn't really matter. Maybe I'll call this. Yeah, no, it's fine. Make it bold. I'll make this the band script and 20 in the middle. And let's make it black and the font white. Why not? And what we can do is we can kind of organize our charts in any way that we want. My plan is, all right, sorry. I'm just going to make all this white, all this white, all this white. I should have done this to begin with. I'm making, just so, pretty much working on a white canvas here. I don't need this data anymore. I'm actually going to clear it out. I don't need it. Make all this white, whoops, let's undo that. All this white. And now let's put these charts in here, whichever way you want them to go. And what we can do now is we can kind of play around with the widths of them and heights of them. I'm going to select them all by holding down Control, go to Shape Format. Look what does 3 look like for height? I just want it to be consistent. 2 look like for width? That's way too small. What does 3 look like? That's a little bit too big. 2.8. That looks a little bit better. Then I might deal with, I'm not going to deal with these axes right now. Yeah, fine. I'll deal with this one. Format axis, 20 is just like 50. Or maybe even 100. I don't know. Maybe 100 pounds. I'll change this, format the axis, instead of every 2%, let's say every 5%. And for this, let's go for every 100 pounds. It's already there. For jump height, let's go for every, not 0.5, maybe every 2 inches for now. Okay, now we have axes. I'm clicking on the chart. I'm going to remove the borders from them. Yeah, I'm going to remove the borders from them. So there are no borders around them now. And what we can do is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the titles of these. And I'm going to do that in my reference now because it's looking at these for the chart titles. I'm just going to call this PBDL. I'm going to call this jump height, maybe not without the inches. I'm going to call this bench press. I'm going to call this body fat. And if I go back to my data viz, now, oh, that's interesting. That one changed. I don't know why these ones didn't. Oh, it's because I copied the formatting. But in any case, let's go in here. I'm just going to rename it in here then. Body fat, bench press, jump height. The titles are different now. Now we have some graphs in here. Great. And now let's organize the filters area a little bit. So I'm going to see here. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Row height 35. Let's make sure that these are in the middle of that. And let's make sure all this stuff that we have here is in the middle of the row height. And let's make these. I'm holding down Control and clicking on all the stuff that we input or could input. Let's make it that color. Let's make it white. Looks a bit nicer that way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these down Underneath each date, I'm going to leave a space because I think that at one point we're going to have, this will be an advanced video probably, we're going to have arrows where we can quickly manipulate the date, maybe by month or day or week or combinations of all those things. So let's move these down. Leave some space under the date and then the performance date. And let's move these all the way down here, actually. All these down here because they're close to where the chart is going to be. Rolling average days. Let's move these down here for now. And maybe we'll have areas kind of dedicated to this stuff. Yeah, I don't really like the way that looks. Maybe I'll move the readiness pickers up at the top towards here. And let's just organize that area with a box. Let's make that here. Let's make this organized little area with a box. And let's, yeah, these are going to be beneath the charts. So maybe this will be, here, let me just, row height 27. Let's make the row heights of these also 27. And let's just make some more white space because we have another chart to add in here. Yeah, maybe we make these a little bit, I'm selecting all these and I'm making them a little bit shorter. We got to work on aligning these properly, but in any case, at least we have them on here. And I'll let you do that on your own. I'll probably do it on my own too without wasting your time. Now where'd our charts go? Where'd our charts go? This is our chart over time for our performance metrics that we have control over. And let's just, and we can do a dynamic title in the next video, or level ups, we'll do dynamic titles. For now, I'll just call this equals, just for now, I'll do equals whatever this is. So right now it's body fat, and we know that this is over time. I'm going to remove this line. I'm going to remove the labels. Don't want those anymore. Let's make this chart the band script, whatever the band script 14, just like everything else. We can't really format that axis because we have so many variables to pick from. And let's change this chart type to be, I don't know, yeah, align with markers. Doesn't really matter too much to me right now. Let's format that data series. Maybe the markers are going to be, I don't know, 7 size, no border around them. Maybe we make this just look a little bit better. I don't know. Solid fill. I apologize. This is redundant. I'm just kind of playing around with stuff. Maybe it's a black. Don't need the series 1 here if we have a title name. The line color. Let's make it a gradient. Okay, and let's remove these things in the middle here. So here's the end of the gradient, here's the other end of the gradient for the line. That's too bright. Let's use the colors that we used here. Maybe there's, maybe the first color is black. And the second color is that gold, so that we can always see the line. It kind of changes, makes it look kind of cool, I guess. And then I want this, oops, I don't know what I did with the brightness there. I want this line, clicked on the line again. I like smooth lines, and if you go to the end here, you can kind of make it smooth, and then it gets all wavy and stuff. Maybe make the markers even bigger for my data series. I'm going to go to the markers right here, marker options. Let's make it 9. Make it a little bit bigger. Cool. And now, again, remember, this is kind of a, let's make this gray all the way down to the last area. Again, maybe we have Oh, we got to leave space for the performance date in case we want an arrow there. And maybe this is, again, another box, and maybe this whole thing is outlined with a big old dark box. Okay, let's make it a little wider. Okay, so now remember, we can select something here. Let's zoom in a little bit and remove that. Remember, we can select something here, bench press, and now we get our bench press performance over time and trap our deadlift. We get to trap our deadlift over time, and similarly see some jump height trends. And here, again, maybe I want to remove the border of this chart, format chart area, remove the border. And if we want to be consistent here, these are such small things, you don't really have to worry about them. I'm going to go format chart area and go to no fill. And I'm going to highlight everything underneath here. All I did is I'm holding down shift and I'm going arrow to the side. Now I'm going arrow down, go all the way to the bottom here. Format that gray. Right now we have this concept where all of our little widget areas have a header in gray underneath them. So that's what I'm doing here. And let's just make sure that we stay within the gray line just to kind of make it look nicer, I guess. And we can make this a little bit, maybe make that a little bit smaller. We need to move jump height over that way. Bench press maybe over a little bit too. This isn't very well organized, but it's something. And maybe we make this even smaller. And one kind of cool thing that you can do in here is you can insert shapes. Maybe I want to align, and I haven't gone too much into detail on this stuff, but we could at some point. I can show, actually in my next videos I'll probably show and make the 0 to make the line straight. I can show a lot of cool things, how to integrate more like shape components into this stuff, which is what I actually typically do, but I wanted to avoid that for now. Maybe there's kind of a line that segregates those things, and maybe let's make it maybe like that blue color that we've had before. Just because there are so many charts in this area. So I'm on the shape. I clicked on the line. I'm going to go to it, make the shape outline that dark blue, right? Yeah, that dark blue. You know what? I don't even like the line. That's fine. So let's make this a little bit bigger. Let's make that header maybe 20. Is it bold? Let's bold it. We make these headers 16, bold, 16, bold, 16, bold, and 16, bold. Okay. This is looking good so far. Now where's our last chart? Where's our last chart? Here it is. Okay, here it is. Let's just format, let's fit it to our kind of readiness area, because this is our readiness picker chart. And again, I'm just going to, for now, I'm going to make this chart title equal to whatever that is. Let's make it, let's make this whole thing the band script, and we have labels here. Let's maybe make them, let's make it all 14 for now. We can actually make these bars thicker. Format data series, maybe the gap width is 75, even 50 if we want to fit the labels inside. If we want to try to fit the labels inside. Format data labels. Let's go inside end, just like the other one. Bold, and let's make them white. And let's click on the series. What color are you thinking? We can go black. I don't know. That's fine. Black. Maybe it's blue, or maybe it's a gradient. I don't know. Maybe this line is black. I'm just playing around with colors right now, and maybe you can organize that. I'm going to change this line at least to be a smooth line, because I like the smooth lines. And let's see what a gradient looks like. I don't know what it would be. No line. I don't want a border around these, but let's see what a gradient fill looks like. All right, that looks pretty cool. I'm just seeing it. Are there any metrics in here where high? Yeah, there's a mix between higher is better and lower is better technically, so I don't really want to screw around too much with that. But when I click on the chart, I want to remove the border around the outside, so no line. I want to have it no fill. And yeah, maybe I'll bring this down a little bit. Let me copy this. I'll Oops, I'll paste it here. Oh, maybe I can't do that. Let me try that again. Paste it here. And let's bring this all the way to the end. Merge and center. Say metric over time, or what we could do is say equals, oh yeah, well, why not do this? Let's do equals this and quote over time graph. I have duration over time graph, and when I can remove that, bring this down a little bit, contain this a little bit. And maybe actually this is a separator, it looks like. So, or this separates things. I'm gonna maybe make this column width a little bit smaller. It's maybe it's 4 again. Maybe this one too is 4 again. 4. We'll reorganize things, and maybe I make all the column widths actually bigger. They were all 12. Maybe they're all 14 now that aren't being separated. Column width 14, and maybe that's true for all these too. There's a little bit more space. We just have to move some things around a little bit, which is okay, and make these gauges a little bit. Oh, I thought they would get. Do that. Do the same thing here. Ideally, I want these to be the same size, so I'll look at the size of one of them that looks pretty good. Maybe this size is good. Format, let's go 2.8 by 5.6. Let's do the same thing here. 2.8, 5.6. Now we have two gauges that are at least the same size, and we can increase the width of that. And maybe maybe I invert, I'm going to format this data series, go to the gradient fill. Let's just see what happens if we flip-flop these things around. That way there's not black and the black over the black, it's more gold over the black. Day score rolling average, that's fine. We can have a key down there. And yeah, then maybe we just move these over a little bit. We can do the same thing. I actually kind of want to do a gradient on these ones too, just to make it look a little bit cooler. So maybe with these data points, make a gradient, not going gold. Let's go dark gray. I don't know which is black to dark gray. Let's do the same thing here. Format data point, gradient, as long as it's the same. Yeah, all right, cool. It keeps the same gradient. So let's format this data point, format data point, fill, gradient. I should have done this at the beginning with my initial chart type, but this is how it goes sometimes. You just start thinking about things and you want to change things around, and all I'm doing is I'm double clicking on the series that I want to change, and instead of filling it solid fill, I'm clicking on gradient fill, and it remembers kind of the last one that you did. Make sure that they're all exactly the same. Okay. And now with the gold ones, I'm gonna do the same thing. See how it looks. So gradient fill, but I want this color to be gold. Maybe this color is a lighter version of this gold. So I'm gonna select the same color, but go more colors. I'll flip that around. I think I'll flip this around. And that's even too bright, I think. I'm gonna make it darker. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing here. Click on it. Let's just go to gradient fill. It should remember the last one, and it does. Same thing with this one. Should remember the last one. It does. Same thing with this one. It does. All right, now we got some cool stuff going on here. And it all should work. The last thing that we're going to do in this video, I know it's long, is we're going to create drop-down lists for all the things that we need to select. We have a couple of them here. We have one here, but we don't necessarily have one for the name or for the comparison. So I'm going to go to my reference sheet. And if we go to data viz, if we don't think that we're not going to have any other comparison types, just because that's the nature of our dashboard right now. So what I can quickly do is in our data viz, I can do insert or data, my apologies, data validation. Let's do a list. I'm going to click here on my source, go to reference, and select these three things. Get out of that, click OK. Now we should be able to select from those three things, which again change the comparisons that we make in this data here. And I am going to do the same thing for name, but in my reference, I don't have a spot for name. So let's just move this stuff over and over. I'll just do names, make it bold and have it be gray. Just make sure the data viz. Oh yeah, so that's not gonna. 25, let me just make sure that's right. Let me look at this, change. And now I need to get my list of names. There are a couple ways to do this. It depends whether we want this name list to be automatically updating. I advise that it is an automatically updating list of names. And in that case, what we can do is, well, first to create our name list, there's a formula called unique that we can use. And I'm going to use that here. It's going to be alphabetical. So I'm going to use equals unique. I'm going to go table profile name. That means in my list of profiles, I'm going to get a unique list of names here. And within that, I'm going to go before unique equals sort, open parenthesis, and just close a parenthesis here. Now my names will be organized alphabetically. So now I have a nice list of names. And what I'm going to do now is set up the data validation for that. And we'll make it an automatically updating list. So if we add more names, the list will accommodate. I'm going to click on the name cell here, go to data, go to validation. I want it to be a list, but I don't want it to be a source from, I don't want it to be this list here. I want it to be an automatically updating list. Let me just go back to my data viz. And the way that we do that is we do equals offset, open bracket, and then we do 0, 0. No, sorry. Then we do reference this cell, the first name in our list, comma 0, 0, count A, or count A, which is another formula, open bracket, select the whole column where your names are, close a parenthesis, -1, close a parenthesis, get out of there, click OK. Now we should have a list of our names. They're hard to see because I'm very zoomed out of this, but if I zoom in a little bit, the names should be bigger. And here are all of our names to pick from. Pick SpongeBob, there he is. There's his data. Queen Elsa, there she is. There's her data. Again, these images are so bad. But if I am going to go into my player profiles and let's say I add a new person, and their name is Johnny Unitas, and it doesn't really matter what other information there is about him. If I go to my reference, there he is in my list in alphabetical order. And if I go to my data viz and I want to select him, there he is in alphabetical order. Nothing will happen. Everything might break. Yeah, nothing works. But in any case, here, let me actually get off of him before I so Popeye. And let me go to my player profiles and remove him from it. And now I think that this is it, at least for now. These I kind of want to just turn sideways for whatever reason. And make them in the same spot. Okay. And so in the next videos, we'll do some advanced stuff. But this is all you need right now. Bare bones, you can manipulate a lot of different things. We'll do some text logic up here in the next video to tell us what we're comparing, because there's so many different options. For example, if we type in past number of 7 days, now we're comparing Popeye the Sailor, his data, to team average over the past 7 days, instead of, if I remove that, the team average on the date that we've selected. And we can also choose to compare Popeye to himself over the entire year, or his entire time in the data set. Or we can compare his results for this day over his self for the past 7 days similarly. And in addition, we have a lot of things here that we can manipulate, like the metric that we're looking at. Do we want to look at RPE over time? And what this line represents is the rolling average of the RPE now over the past 3 days, which we can change to be the past 10 days or the past 20 days. It doesn't really matter. We can manipulate all these things. And what we want to do is we want to understand what we're comparing, or we want it to be present to us. And also, we can manipulate dates. I can type in 12/22/2017, and again, the data will reflect his information for that day. And we can also change the readiness date for this graph separately, which might be 12/12/2017. But what we're going to do in the next videos is we're going to create scroll bars or spin buttons that allow us to manipulate a date, and then that date will also change here, which we can then manipulate here, which will change it here, and we can kind of organize ways to quickly manipulate the dates instead of typing them in. And yeah, so that's it for this video. Good job on the dashboard. You got something serviceable, I hope, and I'll see you in the next videos for the advanced installments. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions.